Damn.
What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome to a debriefing taking place in a little mini podcast studio in San Diego. Thank you guys for tuning in. And let's begin. It's been quite a roller coaster this past week getting settled in San Diego.
100%. And yeah, it's definitely been probably, I would say, one of the more stressful end of contracts we've had. A little bit, you could say, I don't want to say unorganized because we were organized. It's just things didn't fall in place, you could say.
The travel nursing industry is definitely a lot different with what's going on, and they're shortening that window like we talked about to land a contract. But before even San Diego, we really wanted to go to Miami. 2 months ago, we applied for a license, fingerprints, got all that done. We're looking for contracts in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, just all across the Miami area within a 30-mile radius. And it just didn't make sense for us. The hourly bill rate of how much the package of the contract was versus the cost of living when it comes to finding housing, there was a lot of barriers there. So there's three of us. We're like a trio. We're the three musketeers that podcasts and vlogs and travels around. So we had to find a 3-bedroom. Airbnb is not worth it. It's super expensive. And Miami has 7-month minimum leases. So if anybody's travel nursing there, it is not worth it for that reason unless you do a short-term Airbnb lease and you find like a 1-bedroom, it's worth it. And yeah, we even try to find a place off Craigslist and a realtor, which was like the last deal, and we almost got scammed. Literally, I was just about to send the money. I signed the contract, and they were kind of doing some digging. We called the place that the guy owned because it was like a company, like an association. They said that he moved out a couple months ago. He said no. We looked him up on the government website. It says he does live there. And finally, we told him, like, hey, the only way it's going to work if you send us our ID. At first, he was resistant. Then he's like, I talked to the lawyer. It's okay. He sent the ID. We compared it. It turns out he was photoshopping his state ID. It doesn't look like an actual Florida state ID. We found out we got scammed. So be careful with that.
But it kind of works out everywhere else. In Chicago, same thing. But I feel like in Miami, the people that are over there, it's more scammy because they know you have money, and especially during this time where there's a pandemic, and only really the southern states are open, like Florida, Texas, and people are flocking over there. It's going to be a lot harder to find housing, so there's going to be more opportunity for these scammers to kind of get away with this kind of stuff because it's a little bit easier because the volume is there, but there's not enough housing.
Yeah. So
and plus the contracts weren't anything special. Like we're looking at the contracts, and we thought we found some good ones, and then we were doing some math and seeing how much housing costs and how much we made in Texas versus how much we made in Florida. We looked at some contracts and they were high paying, but then the prices kind of dropped, or the high paying contracts really weren't given to us because it's like a 24 turnout rate. So if you're not hopping on it right away, then you're kind of going to lose it. And sometimes agencies offer you these prices of like $4,500, $5,000 for three shifts a week, but then when you call them and you contact them, the price drops, or they say they don't have that contract available anymore, and they try to
scamming as well.
Yeah, kind of. I don't want to say scammy because it's a marketing ploy, and they're gonna try to work.
Shit.
Yeah, they're gonna try to work the system a little bit too, and you just gotta be careful. That's what the life of travel nursing is. Like you're a nomad, and you're just figuring stuff out literally every 3 months. Every 3 months you're changing. You're repeating the process every 3 months, which is a nuisance. But then again, remember, you are going to units that need your help, and you are getting paid a lot more than the staff nurses.
And within that 2-week time frame with everything going on, we finished our last 3 days, had a potluck, had a good time, said goodbye to everybody, packed up, barely made it fit. We had like 8 bags total because we travel with all this gear.
And I packed up my suitcase, and right when I packed it up, because it was literally, the suitcase weighed like 48 or 49.2 pounds, and the max is 50. And I packed it all up, and I realized there's like a pretty big rip on there. So I was like, it was already late at night. I'm just like, it's risk it. It's just risk it. I sent it out. Nothing happened. We flew Southwest, and they like red tagged it. So I guess that showed to like be careful with the bag or whatever, something like that. So they took care of it. So that was nice. I'm glad it didn't break because when I was looking at it, I'm like, hopefully it does not rip, because sometimes you're sitting on a plane and you're watching the baggage people take the luggage off or put it back on the plane, and they throw it around. So I was kind of nervous about that, but luckily you got here safe and sound.
And within that week, we transitioned from the East Coast to the West Coast. We got tickets, we got a lease, and we flew out here to a contract. But the thing is, this is this weird period that we never experienced where we never booked a place without getting a contract. So we're here technically contractless and trying to find the spot. A whole week flew by. We didn't get any calls. We're submitted to over 7 different places all across San Diego, and now it's a waiting game. We kind of said, hey, to our recruiter, if it's not working out by Thursday, we're going to reach out to other agencies, which we did. So now we're getting placed with multiple agencies to multiple places just to expand all our reach of what's going to happen. So the non-negotiable right now is nights. We want to stick with days. We kind of spread our feathers where we're going to be working ICU. We also applied to PCC, which is step down of ICU. And just to say, F it, why not? We applied to one LTEC facility, which is not our, not our ideal, but because it's days, we'll still call it a day.
Yeah, I'm not sure if y'all are any LTEC nurses, but I've never worked in LTEC. I did work in like a rehab facility back when I was a CNA many moons ago. But when I envision LTEC or somebody tells me, hey, I work in LTEC, I'm thinking trach care, turning, feeding, and wiping ass all day, and those things, because in my vision of LTAC is if something emerging were to happen or blood pressure is tanking, then you just call for an ambulance and you send them to the hospital, because you don't have any kind of drips there. I'm guessing because it's an LTAC, it's a long term like acute care facility, but they don't have ICU stuff. So that's why we're kind of leaning away from it. But you never know, if we don't really find anything else, an opportunity, we might take it for like 4 weeks. It wouldn't be a bad experience. I'm kind of down to do it, but then I really don't want to do it. But I'm down to do it for the cause.
You rather do that overnights?
Honestly, I would rather do a 13-week contract doing nights in ICU versus an LTAC for 13 weeks.
For me, I'd rather do the LTAC for 4 weeks on days and then do an ICU potentially on day shift. My body hates nights. I'm throwing the white towel in, bro.
If you put it that way, of course, I'll prefer the 4 weeks of LTAC, and then day shift ICU would be amazing. But if I'm thinking of one giant contract, I do not want to work LTAC for 13 weeks. Like a 4-week experience, because the first week is going to be orientation. You're going to get some help. People are going to know you're new. And then the last 3 weeks, I could push through it. Exactly. But if it was 13 weeks, I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah. And then San Diego, literally, we bought a ticket here. We flew in here. We got housing. Housing was a little bit of a mission here as well. We did find a few places because, of course, this was kind of like a last minute thing because we were all eyes on Miami, and Miami didn't work out for us. So then we're like, shit, we have about 2 weeks to find housing. And luckily, we did find housing, but that was a situation on its own. Furnished finder was tough to find. We found it through Craigslist as well. We actually found 2 places through Craigslist. This one we found secondary when we were scrambling because we did a FaceTime video call with a lady that had a place in San Diego, and we did a whole tour. She showed us the building, the rooms, the pool area, the whole shebang. We went through it, and like she asked us twice, 2 or 3 times, if we're like clean and quiet, which we said yeah to.
Yes, guys are dirty nowadays.
Yeah, or something, because she saw 3 young dudes, and this property she was renting out for her parents. So when she probably saw 3 guys, they probably thought maybe we're going to party a lot or whatever. But it didn't seem like that on the phone call. On the phone call, she seemed very confident with us getting this property, and we seemed confident as well. And then literally the next day or 2, she texted us and saying, hey, we booked somebody else for the property.
After we submit our application, which is $45.
Right. After she made us submit the application and pay for it, and we're about to do a background check and all that. And then she basically withdrew our application, you could say, and then booked somebody else, which is super annoying. And that was on like Saturday, right? And we were flying out on Wednesday. So we literally had like 4 days to find housing. Luckily, we found another John. We had a John in Long Beach. Now we have a John in San Diego that we found through Craigslist, and did a tour of the place on our way to work. And then the following day, we literally closed on his property and just paid the security deposit 2 days later, because he told us that, hey, right now you're the first one because your move-in date is the 26th. But we have nurses and other people that will be willing to move in on February 1st. So we're technically on top of the list. But he says if it's first come, first serve. So we're like, we knew how tough it was to get housing in Miami, and we knew we're kind of last minute here. So we're just like, screw it.
Just secured the bag.
Yeah, and plus that lady canceled us. We're just like, let's not take any risk. We don't really have time to look around, secure the bag, pay a security deposit, and we just flew in here real quick.
And here we are. So we'll see what happens next week. Stay tuned. Hopefully we find the job, and we will see what kind of job we work. Hope you guys enjoyed these debriefments. See you on the next one.
Take care, y'all.